My vocation story starts basically when I was born. I've wanted to be a priest my entire life. When I was 4 or 5 years old, during Mass one day, I told my mom, I said, one day I want to be a priest. And so that's where it really started for me. And when I was growing up, we played Mass at our house, and I made my siblings sit through homilies, and I'm sure they were awful, but that's what we did at our house, and I was excited and I loved it. And when I was 9 years old, we went to Little Flower Parish, which is still my home parish. I met Father Fred Harvey, and his parents ran a pilgrimages to Medjugorje, and we kind of talked it out and we figured that's something that we could do. And so when I was 9 years old, I went on my first pilgrimage to Medjugorje with my mom and other group from around the state, and I just had a great experience there. I really grew a good relationship with Father Fred, even at a young age, and just really started to enjoy my faith in a more serious way, not as a 4 or 5 year old, but as 9, 10, working. It's still young, but I knew my faith would be important to me my whole life when I went there. And I came back. I went again when I was 12, made my second pilgrimage, and that time I went with my dad, and so I kind of had a different experience there, a great experience. But right at about that time, I kind of got to the age where being a priest wasn't cool, and so that's just the way I went about it. And even up till a couple of years ago, people would say, what are you going to do? And I would say, well, they'd say, you still think about being a priest? And, well, no, I can't do that. But I went on the Rome pilgrimage my junior year, and it was one of the best experiences of my life up to where I'm at now. And when we were sitting, I was kind of thinking about it. I was talking to a girl, I was kind of thinking about asking her out on a date, but I'm thinking, the priesthood's still kind of there. I'll go to Rome and pray about it and see what happens. Our first day there, we were at the University of Mary, and Father Josh Waltz was giving a talk, and he said, if you're discerning, or a good thing to do is every place that we go, just say a prayer. Lord, tell me what your plan is for me. Show me your will. Every church we visit, every saint we see. So I thought, perfect, that's what I'll do, and God will tell me, and I'll have a cut and clear answer. So we went throughout the trip, and we went to all these great places, and I had a lot of good experiences, but I was looking for something huge, that you couldn't miss. And nothing really caught my eye, nothing really I saw or felt. And so we got to the last day, and I was feeling a little discouraged, but I thought, that's okay, I'll keep discerning, I'm young. And we're on our way back on the bus, our very last night, and I was sitting next to Father Thomas Grafsgaard, and he was telling his vocation story, and he's saying, I wanted a wife, I wanted to be this, I had plans, and one thing I really struggled with was saying yes to God. And I'm kind of sitting in my seat like, maybe I've been being called this whole time, and God's not going to show me because he's been calling me forever. And I said, well, I asked him, when did you finally make the decision and say yes to God? And he said, when I was in seminary. And I was just filled with emotion. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and I just thought, that's my sign right there is, I want to say yes to God. And I just had to just get that maturity and, that relationship with God, and just have the courage to say yes. And so at that moment I said, this is something I have to do. I have to go to the seminary, and I think that God's been calling me my whole life. And so from that moment on, it's just been very fruitful in applying for seminary, meeting my seminarian brothers. And I'm also very eager to begin my studies in seminary and everything that comes along with that.